All right. I'm trying to figure this out. I couldn't get my microphone to work, but we'll figure that out. Just 1 second. Well, I guess we'll go with the built-in mic until I can figure this out. It's terrible. But anyway, good evening, everybody, and I'm glad you could join us. And this is Live with Ria. So, yeah, the hot mic was kind of like, you know what? It's like, I don't know. One day I'll figure this out. Part of the problem is that I normally use a Zoom recorder. Okay, so a lot of times, I mean, I have to like keep this setup portable due to various things, and I actually can't really get this thing to work half the time. I mean, it's like the MacBook USB-C ports are so like out of whack, and it's like yeah, one day I'll get it. One day I'll get it where it's not causing problems. But anyway, welcome to Live with Ria. I am Ria, call sign N2RJ, and audio is low. Okay. Audio should be higher now. Oh, too high. Okay. Yeah, I think that should about do it, right? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Um, you know what? Let's do this. Yep, yep. Okay, and oh, okay. So the sound is not too bad then. Okay. So anyway, low audio. I don't know how to fix that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I feel like the Count in Transylvania. Okay? Well, good evening, everybody. There's quite a few people on here tonight. Hey, Josh. Nice to see you. And we're here at Live with Ria. So let me give you a few channel updates before I go on. I've actually been, doing a lot of, how should I put it? Get a lot of, trying to get a lot of things with the channel going, and trying to get everything more or less, optimized. New year, I figured new year, new graphics. I figured the old one's kind of busy, and the new one is more clean and in line with the logo. So I tell people that my channel is not just about amateur radio. it is one of the things I do. It's a major part of things I do, but I feel a lot of people want to do things that are actually, just radio communications in general. So I want to show you guys radio communications, and I'll be covering a lot of different topics because I think it's interesting. And I have comments actually, and let's see, sounds good. Yep, sounds good. Those are leather chairs. Those are not mine. But yeah, let's see here. Good, and we have comments as well. Okay, so this comments module, I actually mentioned it on a community post on the channel. So anyway, yeah, so there's been a lot of things going on here, and I kind of like, want to see where we could go. I'm like 600 subscribers away from 10K, and I'm hoping I can reach 10K this month, because that'll be a significant milestone, and I'm going to have a lot of nice stuff to do. We're going to have a big celebration, and we're going to see how that goes. But, slow and steady wins a race. Thank you, Ham Radio 2.0. Nice to see you there, and hope all is well. He just hit 100K. I'm probably going to hit 100K sometime in the next decade. How to start a YouTube channel. I think Jason has a whole channel on how to start a YouTube channel. I'm not a big YouTuber by any means in terms of, so I'm really not, that big of a YouTuber. But these guys know a lot of things. I mean, I know a lot of things. It's just, my background actually is I actually spent some time in conventional big media, and so I know a lot of things. James, and you are our first super chat. Thank you very much. And yeah, we're going to talk about a few things about HF. I really want to do like a whole series on HF, but I figure I want to start you guys off with some stuff and tell you things about how I operate and such like that, and how my style is. So in terms of HF, I am a pretty seasoned HF operator, right? And I'll tell you my story of amateur radio. So my first experiences with HF, so let's go back to before I got licensed. Before I got licensed. Hi T-Ray, nice to see you here. Tankin 2.0. That's great. Yeah. So yeah, my first experiences with HF, I've had some limited ones in Trinidad and Tobago, which is where I'm originally from. And if you don't know, Trinidad and Tobago is an island, just a pair of islands in the tropical Caribbean. They're small islands. They're a twin island republic, and you try to avoid ham radio. Ham radio is such a nice topic. I can understand though; it's such a small niche. Yeah, I have other channels I've been threatening to start, but you see how that goes. But yeah, so I got my start at amateur radio. I had a school teacher who taught me amateur radio, and he never really. He did a lot of HF, but he showed people 2 meters. He showed people packet radio. He showed some people some things about HF as well. But as you can imagine, in Trinidad, a lot of our contacts are with stations in Venezuela, and during the daytime in the other Caribbean islands, and also up to North America, primarily Florida and southern U.S., and also Europe. So tonight I'm going to show you some stuff on air. I'm going to try to transmit. To be honest, I'm remote right now, so it's not optimal, and and that's how it goes. Let's see here. Ham Radio Hobo. So those who know me as well know that I'm involved with the ARRL. I'm kind of I'm a division director of ARRL. I try not to, to go and mingle that too much with my YouTube activities. It's not that, they'll get mad. I just don't want this to become an official ARRL YouTube channel. I actually have a YouTube channel for my ARRL activities. But That said, I do from time to time talk about stuff, and I think that as far as running for ARRL office, there are things that I've learned where if I had to do it again, I probably would. I joined in a time when we saw a crisis, but beyond that, there's so much more that I personally was able to give back to the amateur radio community. It does take a lot of your time. It takes a lot of effort. The problem with doing a how-to, I'll be quite honest, is the politics. And you'll have some people who would not be pleased if you tell people how to run against them. But I will tell you, if you ask me privately, I will tell you things I learned. So anyway, all right, without further ado, let me see if I could bring up the keynote here. And I'm not going to bore you guys with PowerPoint, but I want to show you a few things, right? So my first HF experiences in Trinidad and Tobago were, my first transceiver was an IARU CW transceiver. It was given to me by my Elmer, who's now silent key, unfortunately. He gave me this CW Morse code transceiver. I learned Morse code early on. I was licensed in the 1990s. This is my 25th year in amateur radio, believe it or not. I'm not that old, but I joined when I was in high school, so you could kind of guess what my age is a little bit, right? And I could get this thing to turn off. I don't need this. Yeah. And I kind of just became a ham primarily because I love electronics, and I love all sorts of technology, and I love experimenting with things. So I was given a kit to build as my first HF radio, and this was pretty interesting, and my interest in amateur radio changed over the years. So initially, my first HF contacts were actually at friend stations because I couldn't afford an HF radio. I know somebody said that they started in CB because I could not afford a ham radio. Fair enough. We had CB radios to communicate with my mom, and because my mom was a nurse, and she used to work the night shift, and drive in at night. If something bad happens to the car, you want to be able to call for help. We didn't have cell phones back in the 1980s, and I was a little kid back in the 1980s, and I would call my mom. We'd talk on the CB radio while she was heading to work, and when she was coming back to work, when she was doing the night shift at the local hospital in Trinidad. And my uncle was a big-time CBer, and he basically got into CB for his business. He ran a hardware store, and he put CB radios in his trucks. And he also, he became involved in the whole CB scene culture. I knew some of his friends. My dad knew some of his friends. So, So, anyway. Carlisle, nice to see you here too. And let's see, Lawnmower 29 with experience. Nice. 9/11. Yeah, 9/11. I was involved in 9/11. That's a whole nother story. But thank you, Davis. You're awesome too. Nice to see you here. You're awesome for watching the stream. What else are you going to do on Sunday night, right? You going to get ready for work on Monday? Nah. Who does that anymore, I have to work on Monday, but, you get to hang out with me. What more could you want? You know what I mean? Ham Radio Hobo says, so is it legal to record or rebroadcast a ham radio contact to YouTube without getting permission of the people on your radio? I'm not a lawyer. I don't think there's necessarily any copyright involved, because this is like when you receive public, two-way communications. And you know what? It's not going to copyright match. I know people have done copyright strikes and such for things, believe it or not. But YouTube's whole copyright regime is kind of sketchy. It's kind of sus because, excuse me, YouTube basically gives the benefit of the doubt to the claimant in terms of a DMCA. Right? I'm not trying to be Leto's law here, but I'm trying to basically say that technically, yes, you can record people, but I don't know. People might be able to go and if they see something they don't like, they might be able to file a takedown with YouTube, and YouTube is going to probably side with them. And James, thank you very much for the super chat. I have to figure out a way to get a sound for that. But it's much appreciated, very much appreciated, especially in January when things on YouTube kind of slow down a little bit. But, really appreciate it. Hello and Happy New Year, Tim Mack. Nice to see you. CW Academy, that's great. Roger. Hey, Roger! Roger's my buddy, okay? Roger and I, we run Guns and Ham Radio on Facebook. Well, he's not on Facebook anymore. He has a group on MeWe now. But I actually went, he brought me to his club, right? His rod and gun club, and we went shooting. So we went and I had one of his M1 Garands, and it was pretty awesome, And this was like a day or two before Dayton, and it was really nice, really nice. I mean, I normally do pistols and such like that, but he does the Garands and all sorts of cool military stuff. He's a veteran, and of course he had to retire, so I thank him for his service and I respect his service, but I view him as a really good friend. So yeah. A CB and a Toyota Crown. That was my uncle's. My uncle actually had a Toyota Crown, but they didn't call it a Crown. It was a Cressida, Toyota Cressida. He had one. He had a Cobra 148 GTL, and thank you, Roger. I want to come back. Okay, I'm going to Dayton this year. If they still have it, I hope they still have it. They better have it. I think I'm gonna come and I'm gonna look you up. I'm gonna arrive a day or two early. Maybe, you go and we exercise our rights. What you say? Yeah, I might even bring some stuff of my own. Okay. I've been told not to record. Nah, I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta not listen to people. Recordings. If you take recordings, actually, the ARRL Volunteer Monitor Program encourages you to record offenders, so that you can forward them possibly to the FCC for follow-up. So thank you, Phil. You guys are really nice tonight. Thank you. And Phil Mirth, thanks for the $4 super chat. That's really awesome. That's a cup of coffee there. That's pretty interesting. Well, so Dara says it's gonna be on. I think so. I think we're reaching a point where things are kind of like, falling back to normal. They're going to try to say all the cases are going up, but the cases, my kid's school went virtual last week, and then we ended up going back on tomorrow. Some students have the option of being virtual, but they're going back in person. I've been triple vaxxed. I wear an N95 where I go. I'm gonna go around and do my stuff. I'm going to Orlando. So, 3 gun, 3 mode. I've only seen like 2 mode contests. I haven't seen 3 modes. Unless you count field day, which is not a contest. Okay? Field day is not a contest. John Ward. Okay. There is no privacy in amateur radio. Period. There is no privacy. Yeah. So, yes, true. I installed cameras and such on my property. I don't face them at my neighbor's house because even though I could film anything out in the open, I don't want to be accused of voyeurism or anything like that. So I aim stuff out at the street so I could see the snowplow when it's coming to the mailman. But I have another camera that's faced at my driveway and it sees my driveway. I don't want to see it. So anyway, let's talk about HF. So yeah, so my first experiences with HF were at friends' shacks. I have a friend, 9Z4DZ. He actually let me operate contests with him, and I made very casual contest operations. So I was a kind of a noob, you know. I was very new to amateur radio, and I made contacts. I had another friend, Irvin, 9Y4IBN. He was involved in emergency communications, and he also ran a WinLink node. So I helped him with WinLink. And also, he let me operate CW, Morse code, because I like the Morse code on the HF bands. I really got into HF operation when I came to the States in 2005, 2006. My mentor, Steve Mendelson, W2ML, and Steve Mendelson, basically, he had a tremendous influence on me. You can see some of his videos where he was at Dayton, and I followed in his footsteps for a lot of things, but he brought me into the North Jersey DX Association, and NJDXA is where I learned a lot about HF and DXing. I met up with a friend, Peter, W2IRT, who lives in West Caldwell, New Jersey. He has a big station. He's a big-time DXer. I'm right behind him, but he's on honor roll, and he has almost 10 bands DXCC. I have 9 bands DXCC, and I'm a few short for honor roll. And so long story short, I learned a lot from HF, and I did some self-discovery. So let's talk about what else I did. So my first DXCC, and I'm going to show you this, what I did with my first DXCC. I lived in an apartment, and I basically had nowhere to put antennas. I tried all sorts of contraptions. I tried using a super antennas MP1 on the balcony at night, trying to get on, but it just didn't work out. So I did the next best thing, which was, you have a car, you have a ham station, okay? And it's kind of like, well, this was my ham station, and it worked out well for a while. I actually did my DXCC on that, and I can show you. This is the interior of the car. Okay, you can see here I have the navigation system being a display for an ICOM 7000. So this actually had like a video out port on the back, and I had a converter that actually allowed me to run that video out into the navigation system. By the way, you see an ARRL sticker in the front there, on the front left. Well, guess what happened? I took this car for inspection at New Jersey Inspection, and they told me to take it out. That's when they had full inspection. They say it's obstructing your windshield. Today now, you have cars with fully tinted windshields and all sorts of stuff because they got rid of the inspections completely. All they have is a smog check. Okay? And that, so I don't know, I'm not going to put the sticker back up there. How do I handle parking garages, right? How do I handle parking garages? Very slowly. That's what I tell people. What I did was actually, I had a Allen wrench. So if I go back to the slide where I'm showing you the car, okay? Excuse me. You see the top of this? So this is not the stock whip. This is a little Tar Heel 2. And this is not the stock whip for that antenna, right? That is an MFJ 6-foot whip, and that increased my signal output considerably. Okay, that was like gangbusters. That was like steroids for my signal. Okay, the good kind of steroids, right? So I was making contacts all over that thing. The little 3-foot whip they give you with that antenna, that thing really, it didn't do much at all. It was a piece of junk, you know. So I took that and I chuck it in a drawer, and I got this 6-foot whip from MFJ. The funny thing is, when it got delivered, the people in the management office in my apartment complex, they're like, "What is this?" And I decided to be quite coy, and I said, "It's whips." I didn't say anything else. Their imagination probably went wild when I said it's a whip. Okay. You see somebody walk in and say, "Yeah, it's a whip." Uh-oh. What do you do in your apartment? You know? I drove about 60, 75 miles an hour. You know? So, excuse me. Yeah. So, that was how I got my first DXCC. And I'll tell you guys, it's really, really, it's a way to do things, okay? Where there is a will, you'll find a way. And I don't think that being in an HOA is necessarily a death sentence for amateur radio. You just need to get creative, okay? I got really creative. And the reason I got creative is because I had that desire. So when you sit down to operate HF, eventually we bought a house, and then, you know, I got a nice station. So why HF? You can get very long distance communications, right? Everybody knows that. And you know, basis and purpose in amateur radio, they list some fundamental things, but they talk about the idea of international goodwill. I hope this doesn't make too much noise. I have to turn back on my power supply here. The international goodwill is a heck of a thing, and that's really accomplished mostly on HF, right? And the fact that you can communicate long distances with relative freedom, and you can talk to people worldwide. Yes. Okay. You got it. So, you could talk to people. You could talk to the freaking King of Jordan, okay? On a first name basis. And you want to know what they told what the King of Jordan, I gave a joke where we were operating, and the King of Jordan, King Hussein, he was talking on the radio, and then somebody asked him, and I'll do it in the most plausible accent possible, okay? "So there, Hussein, what do you do there in Jordan?" Oh boy, somebody keyed up their mic and said, "He is the king, you moron." And then I think I could hear a collective roar of laughter coming out of every ham shack, okay? Because some sarcastic SOB decided that, well, you know what? We are going to, some unfortunate soul decided that, you know, they would ask the King of Jordan what he does for a living. Uh-oh. Well, you know, anyway. Right. So, let's see. HF here. Right? There's a lot of discovery, you know. Somebody was telling me on Twitter, well, ham radio is about surprises, okay? There's a lot of discovery. I wouldn't necessarily call it surprises. I'd call it discovery, right? Like, people in HF, they learn about where their radio signals go and how far and what time. Okay? That's discovery. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of achievement too, you know. Eventually people say, well, you know, the first time I put up a video about ARRL awards, like, you know, DXCC and such like that, somebody commented, well, why are you talking about these useless pieces of paper? Let me tell you why. For your personal achievement, you are thinking, wow, I made contact with X amount of countries, okay? And then I got proof of it certified by a third party. Then, so that's achievement. I've gotten 9 bands of DXCC. I'm working on my 10th. And I have the Challenge Award, I have the 5-band award, and I have a few other things. If you look on my QRZ profile, I have every award they have, and that is because I became very curious about HF. There's no infrastructure needed for HF, obviously. You don't need satellites, you don't need repeaters, you don't need internet. Okay, so if you're absolutely new to this and you're asking, well, why do ham radio operators sit in their basement and operate these weird old HF radios? That's why. Okay? So, right. I got that part covered. So you're preparing yourself to operate, right? And here I'm going to bring up some tools, some modern day tools that, but oh, thank you, Badge. That's a nice talk, nice to hear. To prepare yourself for HF, you need to figure out what bands are open, right? So nowadays, you have a number of tools which would help you do that, right? And I'm going to show you some of them. So the first one I want to tell you about, that's if you're looking for instant gratification, you're looking for a tool called dxmaps.com, right? And this is based on real-time data of operating, okay? And I'm going to show you this now. Excuse me, bring up my web browser. The thing about OBS versus StreamYard is that, excuse me, it is a lot more manual work involved, but so yeah, and okay, right, and maybe I should take off my camera a little bit. Nope. Okay. Well, here you see a real-time map of where it's on. So this right now is on 6 meters. Okay. Let me see this here. I could move myself, somewhere else, because it's kind of hard to show you with me blocking. I don't think it's important to see me all that well. Right. Web browser. Okay. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Okay. And, right. So now on dxmaps.com, I usually use this with 6 meter openings. You can see on the left here, they have LF and HF. So you can go LF and HF, and you have all the HF bands listed here. And you can see real time what propagation is like. Apparently right now there's some propagation on 10 meters. Who knew? You zoom up here. You see all these stations on 10. Right? Apparently. This is actually based on real-time data from the DX clusters and also FT8. If you look on 12 meters, maybe some stuff. And they also tell you, like for example, the various, like the various paths and which stations are active and such like that. 15 meters. I'm kind of surprised that there's propagation, but you can see in some parts of the world, like Japan, and you go down to Australia, mate, or you go to talk to Hayden and these guys down there, you find that there's propagation to Japan, propagation to all parts of Asia, and it's really nice, okay? And I just want to make sure I'm showing you guys this because, okay, good. And, excuse me. Let me just make sure I have the chat to pop out. Okay. Day and night. I'm coming to that. Okay. And yeah, day and night. I'm coming to that. So DX Maps is actually a really useful tool for that kind of stuff, and it kind of, it's really, it's a really nice tool for that. Now during the nighttime, you'll find more 80 and 160 meters, right? 80 meters has propagation to Europe, right? You can see propagation to Europe here, and 160 probably has some propagation to Europe. I would be surprised if it didn't. Well, you see? There is some, but there's a lot of domestic stuff in the US, and of course a domestic stuff in Europe too. Right? Okay. And down these lower bands, we're going to cover this in another video, but there are actually bands that are lower than 160. So, all right, you can do all bands here. And you see the bands are different colors and such, you know. There's a ticker, which I guess is like a stock ticker. Oh, you know, DX maps, okay. Yeah, propagation influence, I'll say that. Yep, okay. Alright, so that is DX maps. I believe you can do a day and night map with that. And gray line here. And you can see here the nighttime, right? You see the Americas are immersed completely in darkness right now. And this kind of like shows you, well, you know, because propagation is very dependent on the sun. You notice Asia is in daylight, Australia is in daylight, Europe is going to see sunrise soon, the Middle East is in gray line. So the gray line, yes, and let's talk about the gray line. So between sunrise and sunset, right? Just as when you're at sunrise and sunset, that is the best opportunity for some good DX. Theo, thank you very much. You know, and T-Ray, yeah, you know, I'm surprised. I thought everybody knew about this, okay? But there are things that I take for granted because I do so many things and I just figure, well, you know, people know this already. It's probably useless to talk about it, but maybe I'll talk about it anyway. But yeah, so you know, you can see here like the higher bands, right? Like 20 meters. When I mean higher bands, I usually mean 20 meters and up, right? 30 meters is kind of on the thing. So the higher bands are active during the day. The lower bands are active at night. The gray line, right, is a good opportunity for DX. So if you study the material in your license course, like the technician or general or extra or whatever, you might have come across something, or even if you just memorize a question, that's okay. It's a license to learn, right? If you came across the concept of propagation, you'll find that there are 3 layers of propagation. So actually, I remember I did a live stream about propagation. I can't remember if it was a one with Kat or one by myself, but it was basically we are trying to determine when the radio conditions are best. And generally, during the daytime, you have this D layer, right? Basically, an area in the lower ionosphere called the D layer, which absorbs the RF going up, right? So you have D layer absorption. Then you have 2 F layers, right? You have the F layer 1 and F layer 2. And then at night, they recombine and the D layer kind of disappears because the sun is not there to ionize. However, during the gray line, you'll find that during that transition period, you will have some enhancement where the F layer, because the F layer also depends on the sun ionizing it as well. You'll find that the F layer will start back to combine and it's still very strong, whereas the D layer is starting to go away because the sun is just about going down and you're in that Goldilocks zone where some DX is possible. I'll give you some examples of what I did. Myanmar, okay? Used to be known as Burma, but Myanmar is a country, is a state in Asia. It's a very rare one, okay? And not only is it politically challenged, meaning that you always have some sort of thing going on there that something politically which would prevent a somebody from operating amateur radio there, so it's not on a lot, right? You find that propagation from this part of the world, the east coast of the United States, is very difficult. So you have 2 things preventing you from working there on a regular basis. One of them is that not a lot of people operate from there, right? I don't think you really have anybody resident who operates from there. You might have 1 or 2, but they're probably on local repeaters or whatever, if they even have that. I don't know. But you have foreign operators who go and operate there because they are interested in activating these countries and putting them on the air. And one of them is Zoro. He's a Japanese amateur radio operator. His call sign is Juliet Hotel 1 Alpha Juliet Tango. He does a lot of charity work and philanthropy and stuff like that, and he you know he does a lot of trips, and he mixes that up with amateur radio. He brings his friend Champ, E21 EIC from Thailand, and they operate there. He brings some other people. I believe he has a few other foreign operators. I believe one or two Americans maybe, and probably Europeans and such like that. This is a truly global hobby. So I was looking for this, and I had to wait. I basically sat by my radio, okay? And I was on the frequency. I was hearing him. And then gradually, as the gray line passed over me, and it was almost, over him, I heard him come straight up, okay? And I called him, right, on phone, okay, on voice. Voice contacts are more difficult than Morse code, believe it or not. Provided you know Morse code, okay? And, he came back to me, okay? And within like 10 minutes, he faded back out. Okay? And that was one for the books. It was a brand new country for me. It was it was a very nice contact. I had some alpha hotels, some lids, okay, who decided that they would play barnyard sounds and country music over this just to spite people. You see this stuff on the internet, but it happens in ham radio too. There are people who just don't like to see others enjoy themselves. So, it kind of, it was kind of nice to have that achievement. So, yeah. So you can have a single hop or multi-hop. I believe a hop is around for ionospheric prop is around probably, I think it's off the tip of my tongue. It's like 2,500 miles, is it? A cordial hop, that is the across the equator. I want to say it's double hop, but I'm not sure. Let's see, multiple hops. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know it off the top of my hand. I'm sorry, but that one is a I believe that's a multiple hop. Hop distance. I believe it's 2,500 miles. 4,000 kilometers. Okay, is it? No, the F2 region is 4,000 kilometers, and the signal path. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one. So anyway, we're talking about. Okay, so you can go as much as 7,500 kilometers or 10,000 kilometers in equatorial regions, which is probably why it was easier for me to reach Asia from Trinidad and Tobago, because I work Asia on a regular basis from Trinidad. It was not hard at all, And so the distance from New York to let's see here. Distance from New York to where was it again? It was to hit Japan, Yeah. But I believe it's 2 hops. I'm not sure. But anyway. Alright. So that's one of the tools, right? And of course you can also go old school. You could look up propagation charts. The ARRL used to publish propagation charts. CQ Magazine, I believe, used to publish propagation charts in the magazine. And I don't think, well, obviously with the age of computers, I don't think they really do that anymore. Excuse me. But they do. There is some other tools available. So if you're looking at propagation, right? Yeah, there you go. So yeah, and yes, and that's an important point too. Usually on 40 meters, 1 hop is around 1,100 miles, and depends on the takeoff angle of the antenna. This is why you have like antennas that are higher, because you want to have a lower angle of radiation right? Whereas if you have it closer to the ground, sometimes the signal might bounce off the ground and go straight up, and it's going to land back straight down. So that's why people put their antennas higher. Of course, if they put it too high, it's basically going to skip over, and it's not going to it's going to enable long distance contact. But you find that people closer in are going to be a little different here. So thank you, Stephen, and yeah. So Roger has a good point. 40 meters is hot here during the day. Yes, we used to run a net on 40 meters. So that's pretty interesting there. So anyway, the United States, this is not really political, it's just funny. But the United States, the Voice of America, and if you, by the way, we have a very famous ham who is from the Voice of America. Steve Herman, right, W7VOA. And I believe Josh had him on Ham Radio Crash Course, who's in this chat, had him on his channel, interviewing him. And he's a Twitter follower of mine, and I'm a Twitter follower of his, and we're kind of friends. So we're all friends in ham radio. The Voice of America actually developed a lot of effective tools to maximize its reach. T-Ray, thank you very much, my friend. Love you lots. And yeah, I'm always glad to teach people stuff, and I always appreciate it. So yeah, so the Voice of America developed some useful propagation tools, okay? And they did a lot of studies and a lot of data, and they had people with advanced degrees studying propagation, and it was really, really good. So of course, being the government, their work is in the public domain, and because it's in the public domain, we made use of this. So we have a site called VOA Cap, right? And VOA Cap can give you an idea of propagation, propagation paths. So Joe, I'm gonna try. I don't know if I'll be able to transmit, to be honest, but I'm probably gonna try 80 meters, right? And I'm gonna show you. I might do a separate live stream just with transmitting alone, because the thing is, right now I'm away from my house, so it's kind of difficult. But so anyway, VOA Cap allows you to do point-to-point predictions, or you can do coverage area maps. They even have 11 meters too. So if you're 11 meters CB operator, you could avail yourself of that. But point-to-point predictions are interesting. Okay, so voacap.com, and here, of course, they have a whole map, and they have a pretty gray line and such like that. It's a supercomputer. No, I'm real. People tell me I'm not real, but they probably just trolling me. I'm not a supercomputer. But yeah, so you can set your transmit location. So it's kind of a hard thing for me, because if I'm in the United States, I am in New Jersey, but you go by call sign prefix, which is kind of, so W, you see the nearest, okay, Trenton, New Jersey. You see Trenton south of me, right? I could go New York City, which is roughly where I am. And let's say I want to try, and let's say I want to work somebody. Let's pick a country. Somebody pick your favorite country. Let's pick somewhere exotic, okay? Let's say we want to go to Kuwait, okay? We want to work 9K2HN, who I've worked several times on, on various bands. And then I go here, and here, let me blow this up a little bit. Well, it's not on me. So in the corner here, I hope you see this. Okay, yeah, I need to move this a little bit because it's a little tiny. Okay, I need to embiggen this. So let me embiggen this, and I'll move it around and show you. Okay. On the right side, you can see the mode, right? And you can see the power, because power is important, right? Because obviously, more power you have, since you're losing power along the way, the more power you start off with is the more you'll end up with. Your type of antennas, and then you can have your propagation charts and a propagation wheel. So I go here, and let's say I have, let's say I'm doing SSB phone, right? And I go for, excuse me, 100 watts. All right, and let me, so I have SSB and 100 watts here, just so you know. And let me bring it back down to size, because I think this is important for you to see the whole thing. And yeah, hey Bob, Bob's a good friend of mine. That's Bob McGuire, Science Bob. N4HY, good guy. And so yeah, antennas. Let's do and then here you could select all different kind of antennas, right? You can select I don't know, select a dipole in dipole at 33 feet, right? Let's say we have dipole at 33 feet, dipole at 33 feet. Okay, we set it for all the bands. Okay, and let's go down to 20 meters, and then let's say for 30 meters you also have the dipole at 33 feet. 40 meters you have, let's say you have a quarter wave vertical. Okay, quarter wave vertical, and you have, let's say we don't have good ground, so yeah. And my first spammer of the night, I will yoink. Okay, 100 watts. Nick the rat. Okay, yeah. And okay. Oh, by the way, now you can adjust this for time scale too. So, right. And the receiver side, let's just leave this as is. So we just put the default set of antennas. And yeah. And I believe we do the prop charts. And here now, I need to embiggen this here. Okay. So yeah, you have like, basically it tells you what usable, what percentage of possibility of getting a contact is, right? And you notice, like, different bands are really interesting in terms of, let's see. So you have, let's look at 80 meters, okay? 80 meters kind of is buried on the ground here somewhere. But if you look at 20 meters, 20 meters is really dramatic. So you notice 20 meters, and this, by the way, this time is in UTC, okay, in Zulu time. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's kind of fizzled out there. And it goes to the bottom, it goes up, but you notice from 1500 it starts to pick up, right? And 1500 is like East Coast sunrise, okay? Around approximately. And then it goes down, and it goes down a little bit, it has a dip, and then it goes back up, and it comes on strong, and then here you find in the evening, around 2300, which is around 7 p.m. local here, I believe. Yeah, I think so. And then it dies down for the night. So, that's short path. So in HF you have two paths. You can have short path and you can have long path, okay? The long path is where you're basically taking a longer trip around the world, because remember, the Earth is a sphere. The Earth is not flat, okay? The Earth is a sphere. And tell that to Alan Wiener. He has a whole flat Earth club on his thing. But the long path, so sometimes you might have propagation opportunities on the long path, right? And then you can see this here, but of course it's less. But for some areas, it might actually be your only or your best opportunity, to be honest. From here, if I'm working Australia, I find that if I'm talking to Australia, let's say I want to talk to Hayden, or I want to talk to one of these other guys when they're not dodging kangaroos on the road, they're in the shacks. I want to I can beam long path and I can beam short path, and it's practically the same. So anyway, Theo, I love doubles too. Okay, I go to Liberty in Queens, and I get some sometimes, but it's not the same as getting it from the doubles man in Shogunas or Debe. Okay, yeah. So let's see, they have the propagation wheel too, and this wheel now kind of like gives you opportunities, right? So you can see this on a different kind of scale here, And if you really want to waste paper, you could print out these charts, or you could just go on demand. The science never really changes. By the way, if you want to learn more about solar stuff and propagation, Space Weather Woman, Tamitha Scove, Dr. Scove, she is excellent, and I really respect the work that she does. She does a lot of work for my other activities, which is drones. Okay, because we depend on satellites and stuff like that. All right, so this is preparation. So your propagation, right? And I believe I might have to do a part 2 of this, because this is a really deep dive topic here. Tony, this is VOA Cap. voacap.com. So yeah, right. So once we figure that out, now we could go on and see what's open, right? And let's see what's open. So I hope this works properly, because it wasn't. But if not, I'll probably have to do another stream with this. Okay. So yeah, sometimes it odd when short and long paths work, and not only that, but oh, thank you. Say what? I will. I'll put the charge. Okay. Right. So I bring up your radio here. So you notice I'm at night, and I'm trying to get this here. The radio audio. Here, I bring up the radio. I wonder if you guys could see it. Alright, Addy. Good night. See you around, buddy. Okay? Yeah. Let me see here. Trying to bring this up. There we go. Bam! Okay, so here we are on the radio. Okay? And, yeah, VOA cap. Okay. VOA cap. Yeah. And I'm trying for this not to drown me out, but, if the audio is a little bad, let me know. So here I am looking. An important part before making your first HF contact is you need to listen, and you need to tune around here. Now in an SDR, this is a flex radio. I actually have the ability to look around and see what's on me, right? I'm going to continue this, by the way, because I don't think we'll have time for the full treatise, but I'll give you the executive summary of what I'm doing here. So I find a clear frequency. If I want to work DX, right? Now I've known all the parts of the band that have what I want to work. So up here at 3800 is basically the upper limit of where DX is, right? DX on phone, because other countries cannot go above 3800, except some in the Caribbean and in the Americas. Down to 3600 is the lower limit, right? And you find that you have people here as well too. This person uses an upper sideband, right? And you have all sorts of space. So you look for a clear space, right? And so I'm on 80 meters right now. I'm just tuning around 80 meters. So you do a lot of listening, and you look and you find a clear space, and then you basically want to call and see here if the frequency is in use. But you have to listen first. Let me see if I could raise anybody. The other thing I want to do is my amplifier on. I switch to operate, and I set my power down a little bit. Let me see if this works. I think I see my friends down there, but okay, let me see. Is this frequency in use? N2 RJ. Right. I hear somebody tuned up there, so maybe they're trying to make contact with me. And you could listen again, and then you ask again. Is this frequency in use? This is N2 RJ. Trying to get on something 3795 maybe. I have friends who occupy 80 meters often, like DF2BO and Dave Geezer EVY. So let me see here. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ. This is N2 RJ, November 2, Romeo Juliet. Hello CQ, hello CQ. This is N2 RJ, N2 RJ calling and bye. Okay, I had a little bit of interruption there. I'm sorry. Could you come again? Now that is a celebrity. K0NEB. K0NEB. How are you doing, Joe? I'm N2RJ. Nice to hear this evening. You're about a 5x7 here into New Jersey. Over. Yeah, I'm not running full power. I'm running about 900 watts here right now. So you know, if I don't want to run at full power right now. I'm actually running remote here, so it's kind of interesting. And of course you're in the live stream. So really nice to see you, Joe. Yeah, you're doing good. So you're world famous now. K0NEB and 2RJ. Alright, K0NEB. This is N2RJ. Alright, let me see. Is there anybody else? This is N2RJ. Okay, so we made a contact there, and on this radio, alright, was there a Whiskey 3? A Whiskey 3? So I have a good bit of noise here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on something called a noise blanker to take out this noise. Alright, Whiskey 3, Alpha Zulu Tango, W3AZT. This is N2RJ. Yeah, you're in the noise. You're about a 4x7 here. 4x7, over. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hearing some sort of crackling on the band here. So I think what I'll do is probably in the next stream I'm gonna go over receiver adjustments and such like that to actually get out some of the noise, because that's a topic that deserves its own treatment here. But anyway, nice to make the contact with you, and thank you for joining us on the live stream. This is N2RJ. All right, W3AZT, thank you very much. And to RJ, have a good night. So, of course, my next step now is I'm going to log this contact. And the logging, it's kind of funny. I use a logging program called Log4OM. So I'm going to log Joe's contact first. And let's see here now. I'm going to bring up this this web browser where you can see me. Because I'm, like I said, my radio's remote right now. And where am I? Here now. Remote desktop. See? Remote, yeah. Oh, here I am. Okay. Alright. Log4OM. Whoops. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Log4OM is a nice piece of software. It's free. The only thing is, you know, people have their preference in terms of software. I use Log4OM. I used to use Ham Radio Deluxe back when it was free, and then what happened is, well, it got sold to these guys, and then they had the whole, you know, the whole thing, and it just went completely south, you know. And I just lost complete confidence in them. So the reason I'm doing this is, yeah, you know, I was running about 900 watts, so, you know, yeah, that's sometimes that's a problem, you know. I'll probably do a whole stream where I'm making contacts, but I generally don't do those kind of things. I just, you know, I don't know, because I feel like sometimes it's like people, you know, so many people do that, you know what I mean? So I like to keep it unique. So let me show you my my logging software now, right? And I'm actually showing you my logging software here. So I use the Log4OM, and then the first one, so I have my radio hooked up with a cat cable, and I'm able to actually read the frequency from the radio. Well, actually, it's flex radio, so it's over Ethernet. So first ones, I'm going to do K0NEB, and I'm actually going to change the time. I'm going to fudge a little bit. I'm going to get it back a couple minutes, right? And then I'm going to change that time here, right? K0NEB, and I give him a signal report of a 5x7. Okay. And then I just do this, bam. If you look me up on QRZ, you know, QRZ, you'll actually see this contact just got entered in QRZ, and then W3AZT was at 3:37. So the thing about timing is that it's nice to get an exact time for the contact, but once it's in 15 minutes, it counts as valid. Okay. And here you can see all my recent contacts here, right? And I did a lot of FT8 actually. Yeah, there we go. So you see these two contacts there. And once I quit Log4OM tonight, it's going to get uploaded to Logbook of the World, and it's going to be there. So let's see now. If I look on QRZ.com. Well, actually, that takes data from Club Log. You'll see my contact there. And here's Shackhat Radio. Well, maybe it'll get uploaded soon. I don't know. Oh well. Some things have been kind of screwy, to be honest. You can see all my nice QRZ awards here. And yeah, so that is the basics of how to make a HF contact on the air. I'm going to do some more deep dives into this. If you guys like HF, I'm going to tell you also. So the propagation one was a really important thing. If you know your propagation, you know exactly where the band is open to. 1, 2. You definitely need to know, where to operate as well. One thing I found out is that it's not just noise on the radio, okay, that you have to worry about, right? The the best the best environment for operating HF and operating weak signals in particular is that you have a good pair of headphones. Using a speaker is nice if if you're just relaxing in a shack and you're doing a local rag or net, a speaker will work fine. Especially if it's one of these DSP speakers like a BHI or something like that. But for a really, for listening close, you need a good pair of headphones. The first time I tried noise canceling headphones, like a Bose or a Sony or something like that, I was completely blown away at the clarity I was hearing things. Because prior to that, okay, I was DXing with a speaker, with the built-in speaker in the radio. And my friend W2IRT Peter, he showed me some of that, and I was like, he had one of the Heil Pro Set quiet phones. Bob makes a lot of good stuff, but the Pro Set quiet phone really, I kind of ended up using a Bose afterward, and the Bose, I got a Antlion Audio Mod Mic 5, and that worked really well. So, yeah. So anyway, I think we're going to end it here right now. And I'm also going to say thank you very much, guys. And if you like the stream at all, like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I'm sure most of you here are subscribed anyway. But I really appreciate all the support. Especially 2021 was this channel really took off. And I'm really glad that it's taken off even more. And especially some of my fellow YouTubers are helping me, get the word out. Like Ham Radio 2.0 and Ham Radio Crash Course, and all the other people in Toad's Discord and such like that. That's really nice. So I'm really, really glad to be part of this community. So yes, thank you, and like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to do some videos this week. Tell me what kind of topics you want. I did post something in the community where, I asked what kind of videos you want to see. Let me know. I really have a wide variety of topics I could do. And some of them, I want to do some more practical stuff. I realize, practical stuff is nice. I don't think I could do POTA too much in winter, Winter is kind of tough, especially it's going to be really cold this week. 73 guys and gals and everybody else, I'll see you around. Roger, I will see you at Dayton, and the rest of you, I'll see you at Dayton and Orlando. 73, keep on hamming. This is N2RJ.